Hello everyone. Today's Monday, and as usual Mondays, I'm recording a video to help you set up your week. The first thing that you gotta do this week is, as usual, you have to go to the syllabus and content section and open the planner. It's important that you understand what you have to do during this week, and I think that this time is especially important that you locate the information in the content section because there is no learning object for the first time. If you open the planner, you'll see that uh, basically what we have to do during this week is study and get ready for the video conference on Saturday. In the description of the planner, you'll see that you have to read from Andrew Lanford's Everyone's an Author, part 4, The Centrality of Arguments, on pages 373 through 417, and also the strategies for supporting an argument, 418, 441. We will also read John Langan's chapter on argumentation from the book College Writing Skills with Readings. All this information, the John Langan's chapter appears in your contents. I'm going to show you where and under which name. After that, as usual, we will also have some language activities in the language corner that you have to study and then do the self-assessments online. And as usual, you're uh, saving the screen captures of your performance of these activities. As a reminder, you need to have weekly assessments, weekly reminders of what you have been doing by capturing the screen and loading the screen captures in Word in the section that you already know where that is. In connection to the contents of this week, this is argumentation, as you probably know, and in this part of the class, argumentation is supposed to encompass everything that we have been doing so far. Argumentation, when you write an argumentative essay, you've got to go from expository writing, from analytical writing, until you're capable of making a polemic claim of your own in discussing arguments. I'm suggesting the following order for the contents of the week. In the first place, I'm going to show you in the content section where everything is. You have here the planner, you have brief instructions for the week instead of the learning object. As I said, we're building together the learning object all during this week. And you have John Langan's chapter divided into two parts, into two PDF. If you open the first example, Argumentation, Ban the Things, Ban Them All, part 1, this is John Langan. I'm going to show you what you will find once you open the document. I want you to start studying John Langan's chapter and not Andrew Lanford. The reason is very simple. John Langan is the classic, I would say, and he approaches argumentation in a very simple way by focusing on the most important part of the genre, which is convincing people, trying to have people change their way of thinking or opinions by using a set of argumentative strategies. John Langan summarizes the strategies in this very simple way. He refers to, in the first place, using tactful, courteous language, finding common ground. Number 2, acknowledging different viewpoints. Number 3, number 4, when appropriate, granting the merits of different viewpoints. And finally, the last one, rebutting different viewpoints of view. So he goes from being polite, from finding commonalities in the argument with the conflicting voice that you're having a conversation with, and when you're having an argument, acknowledging what they say, then acknowledging the validity, if there is a validity of what people say, even though it's conflicting with your own point of views, until finally you reach a point in which you need to rebut what they say. So these 5 principles are very simple. He presents them very concisely. That's why I want you to start from Langan. And then John Langan uses 2 examples, 2 sample essays by students that are very interesting and show the strategies in seen from the point of view of students. So this is very interesting to read these essays, because they are essays written by students like you, and some of the strategies could be improved. That is our job to do, to talk about this in the video conference. So start reading John Langan, and then once you're done, once you understand the strategies for argumentation as presented by Langan, then you're ready to continue with the material for the week. Once you're done, remember John Langan is in 2 parts: argumentation, band things and band them all, part 1 and part 2. You have 3 examples of argumentative essays or argumentative articles. There is 2 essays and 1 article. Here's to Your Health. It's a very interesting article that uses some of the argumentative strategies. Then you have Walmart by Douglas, a very interesting article, essay 2. And we're going to be analyzing Joanna McKay's, the third one here, Joanna McKay's essay, argumentative essay, and this essay is about organ sales. We are going to be analyzing this essay in detail in the video conference on Saturday. This is the essay you want to read for the video conference. I'm going to be sending the questions tomorrow. After you have checked Langan, after you have seen the contents and you have taken a look at Joanna McKay's article, you need to go to Andrew Lumford, the textbook, Everyone's an Author. In Andrew Lumford, you have to read from pages 373 through 441. Is part 4, the centrality of argument. I'm going to be referring to some keys in the chapter by Lanford, especially on pages 380. You have here the same arguments or the same strategies that Langan presented briefly. You're going to see the same strategies, but as analyzed by Andrew Lanford with examples. That's why I said that you have to start from Langan and then move on to Andrew Lanford. This is on page 380. She makes a beautiful introduction from 373 to 378, where she defines argumentation, and she approaches argumentation as a conversation, as a dialogue, usually a dialogue between conflicting sides or people that approach the same conflict from different angles. And the beauty of argumentation is to bring these apparently incompatible voices together. On pages then 387, Andrew Lumford presents the core of argumentation, something that she refers to as the stasis theory of argumentation. She mentions that rhetoricians and in ancient Rome had the theory, a theory that was very important because it was used to convince people. Remember, back then people didn't write and read, so they had to be persuaded by means of the word, the spoken word, and so they had to. These rhetoricians and these politicians actually needed to convince people, so they developed a very accurate system for persuasion. And she names the system as the Stacy theory, that identifies the crux of an argument or the core of an argument. And she defines this center of the argument by asking a couple of questions, actually four questions about the argument. What are the facts of the argument? How can the issue be defined? How much does it matter and why? And what action should be taken as a result? If you are able to answer these questions when you're writing your argumentative essay, you are addressing the issue from the state theory of argumentation. So this is on page 387. He presents the stasis theory, and then on page 389, he refers to the three principles of persuasion that come back from the Greek time. He refers to the three important appeals that gotta be present in every argumentation. He quotes Aristotle when saying that good arguments should make use of all available means of persuading an audience, and then he names three: the emotional appeals to the heart, the ethical appeals, the credibility of the character or the topic itself that you're analyzing, and the logical appeal to the mind. So this sends us to the three principles in the classical antiquity, when the rhetoricians needed to appeal to people. So they used the ethos, the pathos, and the logos. So it is the 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 credibility of the speaker and how much of what the person is presenting is true or not. Then the pathos is the appeal to emotion. If the person is writing or speaking about a sensitive issue, if it makes a difference defining the issue or finding a solution. And also the logical appeal, which is the logos, is the way in which the issue is defended or presented. So the three principles of persuasion are here on pages 389 onwards. And then at the end, on page 408, she presents the four models of argumentation that are very interesting. The classical model that comes from the classical antiquity, relying on the three principles that I already mentioned. Then the Ptolemy model, which is the second type, which is also a confrontational model. So out of the four models of argumentation, we have two that are confrontational and we have two that are non-confrontational. And then finally she refers to the other two, non-confrontational, the Rogerian argument and the invitational argument. You have to read all this information this week. This week is about studying. We're not doing much aside from the exercises that we always do. All we gotta do is study, focus on studying the material. There is a lot to study. I'll be sending you the questions for the video conference, so get ready. This is in preparation for the essay that is to be submitted by the end of next week. We have a group activity and we have other activities next week, but now we have to focus on the argumentative pattern. Please, as usual, send me an email if you need to ask specifics.